Hi everyone, good morning. I want to take a few minutes to discuss some important concepts in this chapter. The first one is a variable. Variable is a very important concept in our research. The key part of a variable is a variable should vary from something to something else, from some value to some other value, or a variable at least should have two levels, two values. For example, if we talk about the current president of the United States, it is not a variable because we only have one. But if we talk about the current senators of the United States, this is a variable because we have more than one senators. So let's see some examples. For following items, A, gender, it's a variable because we have male and female, at least two. B, intelligence, it is a variable because there's a different intelligence from people to people. For example, someone like Albert Einstein may have 200 or something. For me, maybe I just have 120 or 110. I don't know. So different. C, current U.S. president, it is not a variable as we discussed before. D, religious affiliations, that may be a variable because maybe there is more than one. So another important concept we call operational definitions. We need to know why we need operational definition of variables when we already have the variable. The reason is because the common sense of variable in our life sometimes is not clear if we use them directly in our study. Because in any research or study, we want to clearly communicate to others. For example, honesty we used a lot in our life. For example, I always told my son, you should be honest, particularly when you are in trouble. You didn't finish your homework, so you cannot lie. You have to tell the truth. If you are late, tell the truth, don't lie. So we say you always need to be honest. However, we cannot simply use these concepts in our study because we cannot measure it. So that's why we need to give a definition. For example, we can define honest as the number of telling a lie. So that definition will provide a way to measure honesty in the research. That way we can compare. We can do some calculation on that. Another concept like study hard. We always told our kids or our students, you should study hard. But again, this is not a clear concept, particularly in research, because we cannot measure it. So we can define as number of hours in study a week. That will be clear and easy to measure. I have to remind you that when we give an operation definition, doesn't mean there is only one way to define. It all depends on your study, your purpose. But the bottom line is, any concepts, any variable used in your study should be clearly defined and should be able to measure it. So the third concept we talk about is independent and dependent variable. For independent variable, sometimes we say the one that we manipulate and is the cause or the reason. Something that we change them. Dependent variable is the effect, that means the results caused by independent variable. Let's see an example, such as study hard and academic achievement. Study hard is an independent variable. It is a reason. Academic achievement is the results because you study hard. Another example, this is a pretty difficult example. If we want to know how people rate ice cream differently by looking at the color of package. So what is the independent variable in this study? Let's look at each of them. For A, ice cream ratings, this is the results. So that's not independent variable. It is a dependent variable. Gender of the participant, it is a variable, but it is not an independent variable in this study because we didn't look at this variable. We didn't focus on this variable. It's not our interest. C, color of the cartoon. This is the independent variable. This is the cause that people may rate the ice cream differently. D, flavor of the ice cream. So again, it's a variable, but it is not the interest of this study. By the way, for this study, red cartoon is not a variable because it only have one value. Similarly, a green cartoon in this study also not a variable because only have one value, green. So the C, color of the cartoon, is the variable because it have two values. It is an independent variable because it's the reason, it's the cause why people rate ice cream differently. It's the interests of research in this study. The last important concept we call the third variable. Why we talk about this? Because many people, they confuse between correlation and causal relationship. People always think if there is a correlation relationship means there is a causal relationship. That's different. Again, let's look at the example. So some studies find that people sitting in the front correlate highly with GPA. If students sit in the front, they tend to have higher GPA. So can we say sit in the front cause the high GPA? No. If it is the cause, then if we, such as me, I don't have GPA, I can simply sit in the front and then I will get a high GPA. That's not true from our common sense. So why? The reason is because there is a third variable. There is some different reasons that behind both of this variable. People study hard tended to sit in the front. People study hard tended to have a high GPA. So study hard is the third variable, is the real reason. So if some students have a high GPA or we should think about because they study hard, not because they sit in the front. If some students, some kids don't have high GPA, we need to think about whether they study hard. Thank you, and have a great day.